Put him in the bed, you might. Bobby, put him in the bedroom. Put him in the bedroom. Get him out of here. Come on.
I came into contact with somebody from one of the big four, ended up becoming kind of a mentor to me. He's now a member of our club.
Man, when I first saw my first Hell's Angel standing there, I was like, that's what I want to be, man.
If you're running a three-piece, just like you know, it is truly an outlaw standard. Doesn't make you a one percenter, but it makes you an outlaw.
This is what I believe in, you know, and it was awesome to see that my brothers believed in me.
It's the wolf leading the sheep, man. You know, the sheep need to open their eyes because they're about to walk off the cliff where the whole other pack of wolves are at the bottom.
If you were getting your lunch money taken before you put them rags on, if they catch you by yourself, they're going to take your lunch money again.
I try to be around the guys and hang out with them as much as possible and get to know them, because that's really what it's about.
The Hells Angels are being arraigned.
One man was stabbed in the chest, another was knocked out, who faced criminal charges, including charges of hate crimes as well as gang allegations. One defendant faces an attempted murder charge, so this certainly appears to be a widespread investigation.
Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Stacks. I'm your host, Bill Stacks, and today we got some wild news. Tommy O from the Outlaws, the international president, has stepped down. And there was a man who was pulled over and caught with a list. And it had all of the outlaw bosses on it. So things are not looking good in Buffalo. I believe this is in Buffalo. That's where he's from. I'm not sure if that happened in Buffalo, but we're going to get into the story and we're going to take a dive and see what's going on here. This is pretty wild. And there were some mafia figures on that list as well. So why would someone be driving around carrying a list like that? You know, it reminds me like when you're in prison, people that are in different organizations, they'll write things down and have it. Like say it's the Latin Kings, right? They'll have like their rules and like their how to get in it and all that. And they'll have it all written down, and then the cops will raid their cell and they'll catch them with it, and you get in trouble for having stuff like that. But for someone, and this has happened in the past, right, with the mob, people, when they were, remember that couple that was robbing people in the mob social clubs? One guy had a list in his wallet, and when the couple robbed him, they took the guy's wallet and he had the list in there of all the positions and all, like, so people get a hold of this information and it's terrible. Like, it's not good. But before we get started, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can get my videos every time they drop. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Tell your mother's, brother's, sister's friend about Chatting with Stacks, the dopest motorcycle content on YouTube. I appreciate all you guys taking the time to watch this show. I got a lot of people supporting me, and I really appreciate it. TNT, what's going on? How are you? Good afternoon. Jimmy, what's good? 12-pack, good afternoon. Scrap Iron, what's good? Virginia Chaos, how you doing? Why would you carry a list like that? Who knows? Who knows? So, this is a story that came out of the Gangster Report. Scott Bernstein. Shout out to Scott Bernstein. So who is Tommy O? This article I'm reading you right now is from September 2021. This is when they were expanding, right? The newly Buffalo-based Outlaws MC expanding throughout the Midwest in alliance with the Buffalo Mafia family. Just to let you know, this is an older article. The Outlaws Motorcycle Club have quietly launched a Midwest expansion campaign in the shadows of the club's push into New England. And at the seat of power in the Outlaws, shifting to Western New York. I mean, they've been out here for a long time on the East Coast. And, things have happened here and there, but for the most part, it's pretty quiet. The clubs have opened half a dozen new chapters across Indiana, Ohio, Illinois in the past 18 months. Now, this was in 2021. Traditionally, the Outlaws, prominent biker gang, it says here, but it's a motorcycle club. They're normally in the Midwest. They've been there for decades. They have been based out of Chicago and Detroit. You guys know why they shifted to Detroit, because of Taco Bowman. The new chapters in Indiana include outposts in Anderson and Frankfort. There are 3 new chapters in Ohio at either official outlaw status or on the verge of attending official outlaw status. Youngstown, Lima, Cambridge, and other chapters in the Northwest Illinois also put out its shingle, whatever that means. The Outlaws International president, Tommy O. Erwin, greenlit both territory grabs, per sources. Erwin, 51, is from Buffalo and connected to the local Italian mob family. According to records, Erwin's runs his day-to-day affairs from the Pharaoh's Gentlemen's Club in Buffalo suburbs. And that's the same club that was that got busted and the guy went to prison. I believe they shifted the owner to the man's mother, if I remember correctly. Rumors are they're pushing into Oklahoma. That's crazy. But shout out to the Outlaws. There's a lot of good guys that are in the Outlaws. I mean, there's good people in all of these clubs. But I know some really good guys out there that I've spoken with quite a few times. And I think they're good people. Let me see here. So this list, right? The Underworld in motion. Outlaws, mob bosses, and secrets spilled on America's highways. Under the buzz of highway lights and steady hum of an uneventful traffic stop, federal agents stumbled onto something far from routine. The discovery would send shockwaves through the outlaw motorcycle world. Inside a vehicle pulled over on a quiet stretch of asphalt, investigators found a list: names, ranks, chapters, current bosses of the Outlaws Motorcycle Club. Kind of document that isn't supposed to exit the outside the whispers of meetings and locked clubhouses. Almost simultaneously, a longtime international president of the Outlaws, John Tommy O. Erwin, abruptly announced his resignation, ending a reign that had stretched across continents and decades of turf wars. The timing was too perfect to be a coincidence. In New Jersey, another power shift was taking shape. The notorious D. Traficante crime family, often called the New Jersey-owned Mafia, reportedly crowning a new boss. Domenico Mimo Muzzullo, a man hold on, let me get this picture up here. Hardwire, what's going on? Biker News Canada, what's good? Matter of fact, Biker News Canada, did you ever run into Tommy O with your time with the Outlaws? Do you know who he is? A man whose name circulated in the underworld gossip for years. His rise marks a quiet but prominent revival for the families many thought were extinct. Meanwhile, across the Hudson, the Genovese crime family was reeling its own hierarchy, promoting Bronx Capo Ralph the Undertaker Balsamo uh, into a senior role, a move that rippled through New York organized crime map. These weren't isolated events; they were a tactic shift. One in the biker realm, one in La Cosa Nostra, happening almost in sync, as if fate had decided to reshuffle the underworld's deck all at once. The alleged discovery of the Outlaws leadership list remains unverified by mainstream outlets, but crime tracking insiders claim federal agents now possess a detailed blueprint of the club's power structure. Implications are staggering. For decades, the Outlaws have operated through loyalty, secrecy, and code that have the hierarchy exposed, even partially threatens the entire foundation of its operation. Tommy O's exit, whether self-preservation or strategic retreat, adds to the uncertainty. Leadership transitions in the Outlaw Motorcycle Club rarely come peacefully. The question now is, who will fill the vacuum, and which factions will rise or rebel? With more than 400 chapters in over 40 countries, the Outlaws Motorcycle Club is a global network of men who live by their own code and enforce it with unflinching precision. To carry a written list of their commanders suggests either astonishing ignorance or reckless desperation. Either way, the fallout will be severe. In New Jersey, the Mazzulos ascent signals a new era in the Di Travalcante family. Long haunted by FBI infiltrations and fading influence, the family is now poised for resurrection. Under Mazzulo's leadership, rumored to have the quiet blessing of retired elder Charles Big Ears Majuri, the Jersey faction could tighten its old connection with the Genovese family and reclaim the lost rackets across the Garden State. I should reach out to a member of the Di Travalcante family that I've had on the show a bunch of times, if you guys don't know. I'm going to reach out to him, matter of fact. His nickname, born from his ties with the family-run funeral business, now feels symbolic, burying the old order. I don't want to miss my spot. The old order resurrecting a new one. What happens when these worlds, bikers and mobsters, collide in the question gripping law enforcement? Both thrive in the same shadows: drugs, debt collection, muscle for hire. One operates on horsepower, and the other heritage. But as outlaws face international upheaval and the mafia reorganizes, their orbits may soon overlap. Federal agencies across the country are watching closely. The seized biker list could yield indictments. The mob's promotion could rekindle old alliances. And somewhere between the roar of Harleys and the hush of mob back rooms, America's criminal landscape is shifting once again. Its power brokers exposed, not by betrayal or blood, but by a traffic stop on an ordinary American night. So we'll see what happens in the future. A story I want to show you guys is crazy. This happened in New Jersey. Speaking of New Jersey, this is a traffic accident that people were filming driving by. Check this out. 2 18-wheelers collided on the highway and caught fire.
Also the car too.
That looks like a tow truck, kind of, doesn't it?
Oh, the car.
This happened yesterday or the day before, I think. Yeah, Tomio got caught with the situation with the guy from the strip club, right?
He's from here. Right? Also the car too. Oh, the car.
It was one of the main 81 guys in Canada. Was in a club years ago, called themselves the Cossacks, or they went to Quebec and joined 81. That's not the same Cossacks that are here, right? There's 2 different Cossacks in the U.S. Well, they're in Texas. There's the 1% Cossacks, and then there's the ugly men Cossacks. The ugly men Cossacks are the ones with the guy on the back with the sword. And the other Cossacks, the 1% Cossacks, are the one with the skull on the back with the knife in the head. Yeah, that article was from 4 years ago, TNT. I don't think I saw them. I've been in a different part of the country I'm in. But they were in Buffalo, so, I mean, you're kind of near Buffalo, right? Biker News Canada, Bob? Aren't you near Buffalo? Drug-related charges, I believe, at wreck. Right after I left the club. So, this other situation I want to show you guys, we'll talk about that more in a minute. This situation happened in Japan, I believe. So they were having a show, a drone show, and it went berserk. Look at what happened. This is insane. It caused crazy fires. You know the drone shows that they turn into dragons and all kinds of shapes, and they're flying in the sky. It looks all crazy. Well, these ones malfunctioned. Check out what happened. Those are all drones falling from the sky. And they caused crazy amount of fires in China. Look at that. Can you imagine being there? So they started malfunctioning and just falling out of the sky. And there were like incendiary devices attached to the drones. It's like raining fire bombs. Nope. Hey, JMM, what's going on? Yeah, that's insane, right? When I seen this video, I was like, wow. It caused fires everywhere, all over the place. People were running for their life. Hardwire, what's going on? It is some crazy shit, right? So this article I'm about to read you is from last year. Oh, I got another announcement to tell you guys about. So this one should be dropping within the next, probably in a week, right? I got a new interview dropping. Check this one out.
I'm over here chatting with the man Stacks. It's an honor to be on a platform that's got integrity like this man does, man. I'm happy he reached out, and I'm glad I'm here chatting with the man.
Matty Boy coming soon. Shout out to Matty Boy. He's got some great music. Check him out on all streaming platforms. Interview will be dropping soon. So let's take a look. And we got another interview dropping soon. Let me get that one. I got a GG interview dropping soon. And we got this one.
Ben Basham from Jomo Stoppers Worldwide, and I'm chatting with Stacks.
Batshit Ben Bassam. We went over his video about the Twin Outlaw Brotherhood, and he's got some words for them. I don't know if there was any deaths, Virginia Chaos. I'm not sure. I know it does, right? I mean, it's a new era, right? That's what they use now in warfare. It's drones. It's pretty crazy. Like, I never thought I'd see the day where they use drones to commit attacks on people. It's just crazy, insane. But anyway, reputed leader of the Outlaws Motorcycle Gang, it says here, gets court-appointed attorney. Taxpayers may help fund his defense. John Erwin was a general manager for the Pharaoh's Gentlemen's Strip Club, whose owner was Peter Grace, who is now under indictment in a wide-ranging federal case. This was in April of 2024. Buffalo, New York, Lockport attorney will continue to counsel John Erwin, identified by federal prosecutors as the reputed international president of the Outlaws Motorcycle Club. A judge also approved Erwin's application under Criminal Judicial Act, which allows compensation for legal representation of accused person who are financially unable to retain counsel in federal criminal proceedings. Erwin is one of several individuals charged as part of a sweeping investigation into the Pharaoh's Gentlemen's Club owner Peter Grace, in which result in Grace being charged with numerous counts, including drug and sex trafficking. Grace, co-defendant in the case, former DEA agent. What? Crazy. So it's a former DEA agent was involved with this case. That's crazy. I mean, where on Peter Grace's brain did he think that it was okay to start working with a former DEA agent? It's crazy. So former DEA agent Joseph Bonaventure is currently awaiting the jury's verdict in his month-and-a-half-long trial, where he is accused of accepting bribes from Grace and others in exchange for protecting his drug operation. Erwin worked for Grace as the general manager of Pharaoh's, where he's mostly known as Tommy O. He is a humble man who wanted to work rather than to collect disability. Regarding the lawyers said regarding his client, whom he noted lost a leg in an accident 20 years ago. When asked about the allegation that Erwin was the head of the motorcycle gang ties by law enforcement to criminal activity, the lawyer replied, "That's an assumption of the government, but they would need to prove that." Erwin, 54, is currently being held without bail and will appear in court on Friday wearing fatigues from the Livingston County Jail, where he's currently being housed. Erwin is charged with one count of possession of a firearm while being a recreational user of marijuana, and a charge of ordinary. Such a charge ordinarily might not encounter opposition from the prosecutors, and the defendant sought conditions for release pending trial. In Erwin's case, however, his ties to Grace and his possible role alleged by prosecutors in the death of a federal witness and his reputed role with the Outlaws Motorcycle Club were enough for the chief U.S. district judge to order him held. So that's pretty fucked up. So they just allege this stuff and then hold him when they don't have any, solid evidence on it. So, I mean, let me see if I can look up. Bear with me for a second, ladies and gentlemen. All right, here we got a thing right here. So, in a phone call from jail, convicted Pharaoh's owner criticized prosecutors and explained why he didn't testify. Buffalo, New York, in a wide-ranging phone interview with the news, the convicted owner of Pharaoh's Gentlemen's Club renewed his criticism on how federal prosecutors attacked his case and portrayed his relationship with former DEA agent Joe Bongiovenni, and also discussed why he chose not to testify in his 2-month-long trial. On December 22nd, the judge convicted owner Peter Grace on 8 of the 9 counts, including bribery for protection against law enforcement, and drug trafficking, maintaining his club as a drug-involved business. He faces life in prison on August 15th. I'm not sure what he got in this case, but I'm going to look it up. On Saturday, Grace, who remained in jail, spoke with a member of the news. Grace has had conversations with the team on several occasions since being incarcerated about 2 years ago. Grace has been critical of the U.S. Attorney's Office, and specifically against the assistant U.S. attorney. For almost 2 years, he has sent more than half a dozen letters to the news, which often focus on what he deems as unethical prosecution. Grace filed numerous complaints with the federal agencies requesting investigation into prosecutorial misconduct. He was unable to confirm any investigation based on Grace's complaint. Prosecutors tried to thwart reporters from in-person jailhouse interviews with Grace by seeking to gag him. That is suspicious. Why would they do that? Why would they not want him to talk to the press? Their chief concern was that Grace might discuss sensitive details of his case that remain under a protection order. The office even warned that if it would have an FBI agent present during any in-person interview. It says last week that the district court judge ruled that reporters must follow a policy of the U.S. Marshal Service, which requires approval from 5 people to secure an in-person jailhouse interview with Grace, including on the list is the office that prosecuted Grace, the judge himself, and Grace's attorney. But the ruling does not specify phone interviews. This whole trial, they talk about the truth, justice, and everything else, Grace said by phone. Okay, show me one time that the prosecutor or anybody around him looked for the truth or justice. It was all about fooling the jury and fooling the grand juries. That's all it was, he says. In addition, Grace accused prosecutors of providing some protection witnesses with funds for rent and other expenses like car insurance as a strategy to get them to testify against him. Most former dancers testified that they would not have agreed to be a witness on the stand for the government if they had been subpoenaed to appear. A letter from Grace arrived Monday explaining on his criticism of the payments. 95% of the girls that testified were all fired from Pharaohs, Grace said. They were paid to testify, either monetarily or with Joe Trippy's get-out-of-jail-free card. Commit all the crimes you want. Just testify against Peter, as you saw over and over again at trial. When asked why prosecutors would target him if he didn't commit the crimes, Grace said he had no idea. Grace said his attorney suggested the reasons could be the alleged familial link to Joe Todaro Jr., whom the government accused of running the Buffalo Mob. Todaro, who operates La Nova's pizza chain, has never been charged with any crime linked to organized crime. In addition to Grace, it could be his connection to the Outlaws Motorcycle Club and John Tommy-O Erwin, who has a national role in the club and also managed at Pharaohs. The government considers the Outlaws a dangerous, racist, paramilitary organization with 136 chapters across the country. And that's the farthest thing from the truth ever. That's insane. It says, I ask my lawyers that all the time, Grace said. They said, well, maybe because you're family or maybe because of the bikers. I said, first of all, the bikers have jobs in every single county. They're a bike club. They all have jobs. There's nothing illegal about people working, okay? They don't do anything illegal in my club. It's none of my business. In 2023, the government charged Erwin for obstruction of justice in retaliation for the alleged involvement in a conspiracy with Grace and others that led to a fatal fentanyl overdose of one of the government's key witnesses, who Grace described as his good friend. Both have denied involvement in her death. The U.S. Attorney's Office declined to comment. Former U.S. Attorney Trini Ross cited her supervision of both trials of Grace and Bong Giovanni as among her biggest accomplishments. Peter Grace preyed on the most vulnerable victims, using them to grow his business and his profits. So what? I mean, you should go around and say that about all strip clubs then, right? That, they all prey on the victim. They all prey on the women that are dancing there. It's free will. You can do whatever you want. Just because girls are dancers at a strip club doesn't mean the people that are operating the strip club are preying on people. I mean, they go there to work, they get paid. It's not like, so obviously this woman that's speaking looks at it like it's a criminal act to even own a strip club and hire women to be stripper. It's crazy. That's crazy. That makes no sense. It says that she said Peter Grace preyed on the most vulnerable victims, using them to grow his business and profits, said the U.S. attorney at a press conference after the jury convicted Grace. Peter Grace did not want to be caught and have his crimes exposed. However, the investigation and prosecutorial team worked tirelessly gathering evidence and connecting the dots. With Peter Grace now stands convicted of some of the most heinous crimes. Grace also discussed his relationship with former DEA agent, who the government had to take to trial twice after his first trial ended in a hung jury on most of the counts. A grand jury found the DEA agent guilty of 7 of the 11 charges, including conspiracy to defraud the United States and obstruct from justice. He faces 20 years in prison. Grace somewhat distanced himself from the ATF agent. The government and others described Grace and the ATF agent as childhood friends. Prosecutors said Bongiventi, I think that's, I don't fucking know, shielded Grace and his associates from law enforcement investigation in exchange for money. The jury did not find the ATF agent guilty of accepting bribes, but a separate jury found Grace guilty of bribing a public official. So if they don't find the ATF agent guilty, but they find the guy that paid him guilty, it doesn't make any sense. He says, we've known each other since we were 15 years old, but we lost contact some years ago, Grace said. You've seen the phone calls. You've seen the text. How often were they? Sometimes maybe 2, 3 times, 4 times a year. Federal agent testified at his trial that investigators recovered 391 text messages between the ATF agent and Grace over 4 years. Most texts include banter and typical messages two friends might send. Federal agents said the ATF agent made false statements in the DEA reports to minimize his relationship with Grace. Grace said that he and the ATF agent rarely saw one another, but sometimes they would go out and have dinner with their significant others. That's all it was, he said. There's not a single text message in the phone or anything else that connects anything to drugs or trafficking. Nothing. And that's the only phone I've ever had for 20 years. Grace was asked about one message he left on the DEA's phone, in which he asked whether police can ping throwaway phones, also called track phones, which provide a phone number not linked to its owner. He said the reason for the message was because one of his former exotic dancers was involved in a custody battle, and she alleged that he was illegally growing cannabis. It was a simple question and answer. But Trippy wanted to fool the jury. Grace said another issue is that Grace chose not to testify, even though he was mailing newsletters before, during, and after his trial. Nor did his two defense attorneys, call any witnesses to testify on behalf of Grace. Why? That's crazy. Listen, if I was going to trial, I'd call everyone to the stand. Character witnesses, all kinds of shit. I wouldn't not call anybody. That's leaving everything in the hands of the prosecutors. He said, but why? Part of the reason is Garay said that he and his attorneys might have been overconfident. He says, I wanted to testify, Garay said. And the lawyers felt as though that the government did not put on a case, which I believed they didn't also. They didn't think we should even call witnesses, even though there was many, many, many witnesses that would tell the truth about Pharaohs. People have been there for 10, 15, 18 years. I find that a little weird that they didn't have anybody testify. Not even one person. You're like facing the rest of your life in prison. You don't call one person to testify on your behalf. That's crazy. 100%. What would you do? Cito the Great, what's going on? Thank you for joining me today. Mark, what's going on? Slow Ride, how are you? Lindsay, what's good? Thank you for joining me today. Make sure you check out Spotify, but I can't urge it enough. Go to Patreon. Check out Patreon. Exclusive content. If you want to see a lot of the Hells Angels interview. If you have an exclusive membership on Patreon, I'm uploading the full interview today, right after this. So, Mick, what's good? I'm late to the live. I hope everyone's having a great morning. Does anyone know what happened at Outlaws chapter that was in Chattanooga, Tennessee? I don't know. I'll look into it. Let me check some stuff. It says federal law enforcement operations effectively dismantled the Outlaws Motorcycle Club's presence in Chattanooga. They dismantled them. While local law enforcement and media sometimes refer to Chattanooga chapter, the federal racketeering, influence, and corrupt organization indictment from that period tied to local activities to the Outlaws' larger gray region, which covered Kentucky and Tennessee. Key events that led to the chapter's dissolution, including December 31st, 2009, pre-indictment raid. Knox County Sheriff's Office, assisted by the Bureau of Tobacco and Firearms, raided the Outlaws Clubhouse in Knoxville, Tennessee. Mark Ivan Lester was the president of Gray Region, was arrested. In June 15, 2010, federal indictment. A grand jury in Virginia indicted 27 members and associates of the Outlaws on RICO charges. The indictment targeted the club's leadership, including charges related to assaults, kidnapping, drug dealing, illegal gambling, and attempted murder. As part of a series of multi-state raids, the ATF made additional arrests in Tennessee. Federal testimony revealed operations. During the trial, federal authorities disclosed that they had used an undercover agent who infiltrated the organization, as well as an informant who helped provide evidence for the indictment. This helped law enforcement understand the scale of the organization's activity in Tennessee, which includes violent acts and drug distribution networks. sentencing of the leaders. Following the indictment and trial, many of the club's leaders and members were convicted and sentenced to prison. Mark Lester, who headed the Outlaws regional operation in Tennessee and Kentucky, was arrested and promised to relinquish his leadership role temporarily while he awaited trial in Virginia jail. The national president, Milwaukee Jack Ragusa, was later sentenced to 20 years in prison in 2011. The combined weight of the multi-state RICO indictment, subsequent raids, and convictions of the top leadership had an effect of dismantling the club's criminal enterprise in Chattanooga and the border Tennessee area. So but they have clubhouses all over the place, you know. $1,500 list of bosses. Yep. Yes. Yeah, the list listed a whole bunch of people. It's crazy that someone would carry that around, right? Like I said before, it reminds me of being in prison and people have, you know, like their bylaws to their gang or something, and the cops come and shake your cell down, they find it. You get in big trouble for that type of shit. Or them two people that were going around robbing social clubs. They were robbing a mob social club, and they stuck up this old man, and he had the list of everybody's position in his wallet, and they stole the wallet from him. I remember that clubhouse and always wondered what happened. I used to see a lot of them, and the Black Pistons. Listen, I think they get a way bad rap, like they do. I mean, they're just guys that are in a motorcycle club. Maybe some people are involved with some shady business, but that doesn't mean everybody in the club is a criminal. It's definitely not the case, but they want to label them criminals. They want to scare the public. It's not right, especially the way the prosecutors were wording the shit. You could tell they have like a disdain for bikers. A lot of people are like that. Like, look at the guy down there in Florida. That cop. What the hell's his name? He fucking hates bikers. They do not care. Like, they'll do anything to try to the guy that did the Mongolian beef raid. Chitwood. You guys know the Mongols had their national run over the weekend. I didn't hear anything crazy about that. You see, they try to scare the public. Oh, there's a heightened police presence. Even though nothing's going to happen, it's just them meeting up. It's insane the way they treat these people. So here's a good story. North Carolina motorcycle clubs gather for Pink Bike Ride as fundraiser for breast cancer patients. This is in Raleigh, North Carolina. Along Falls of Nassau Road in Raleigh on Saturday afternoon, dozens of bikers were spotted for a worthy cause. Multiple bike clubs came together on a beautiful fall day, donned in pink, to raise awareness and funds for breast cancer patients in North Carolina. At the center of the organization was the Ebony Angels, an all-women's motorcycle club which includes breast cancer survivors. The survivors and fellow bikers, Kim Atkinson runs Kimberly's Touch, a nonprofit organization that helps get proceeds from the fundraiser to those who need it, fighting breast cancer and other illnesses. The organization is to help bring resources to cancer patients to help them with utility bills, gas bills, back and forth to their appointments, groceries, anything we can help them with. That's what these resources are all about, Ebony Angel President Kimberly Washington said. Some of the other motorcycle clubs that took the ride for breast cancer included men who wore pink to support the cause. We brought all these bikers together from all over and charged them a fee, and all of the funds go towards Kimberly's foundation, Atkins said. Bikers from all over Raleigh, as well as outside of Raleigh, revved up and hit the road. This is a way for us to help and give back to the community with the nonprofit organization, said one man preparing for the ride. This was the third year of the cancer ride. Organizers hope that this can continue to bring riders and non-riders together to support those in need. So that's a worthy thing. But a lot of times people just want to focus on the bad things that happen, you know? And you know, the summer's coming to an end. Basically, it's over. It's pretty much fall now. And but the amount of motorcycle crashes this year has been insane. It's been a crazy amount of motorcycle crashes. Like, it seems like a lot than before, doesn't it? So this is another breaking news from yesterday. Pagan's MC Nation buried past Maryland chapter president Branchy Laman back in the summer. Retired Pagan's Motorcycle Club Robert Branchy Laman died of natural cause on August 26th at a hospital in Delaware. Rest in peace to him. People told me, I've heard stories that you will never see anything like a Pagan's funeral, Pagan's Motorcycle Club. They said they are unbelievable and they have like a crazy vibe to them. Mountain Woman, how are you? Mostly good dudes in all the clubs, really. But they'll take one activity's decision and try to label the whole thing. 100%. I mean, that's what they do, you know? Steve Cook and Shitwood. Two shitty people, man. Both of them. Steve Cook is a straight douche. I do not like that guy. I mean, they think that anybody in a motorcycle club is a terrible person. They think they're all criminals. I should get him on and debate him. So this is a new article. FBI Jacksonville releases summer heat results. FBI Jacksonville made 120 arrests over the past 3 months as part of summer heat operations. The FBI nationwide effort to crush violent crime. The FBI Jacksonville is relentless of our mission to crush violent crime, said FBI Jacksonville Special Agent in Charge Jason Carley. Summer heat sent a clear message to those who endanger our community and will be arrested. We will use every tool, resource, and partnership to protect the public and restore peace to our streets. Operation Summer Heat may be over, but to our commitment to crushing violent crime, protecting every neighborhood, family, and child never ends. It began June 24th and it ended September 20th. All FBI field offices participated in a multi-pronged offensive to crush violent crime. The FBI surged resources along state, local partners, executing federal warrants on violent crimes and fugitives, dismantling violent gangs, identified rescuing children, victims, and resolving violent crime cases in Indian County. Nationally, summer heat led to 8,629 arrests, with more than 6,500 arrests falling under the FBI's violent crime and gang program. In addition, agents, intelligence professionals investigating violent crimes against children identified and located 1,053 victim children. Summer heat operations also led to the seizure of 44,569 kilograms of cocaine, 421 kilograms of fentanyl, 2,281 weapons. Locally, the FBI Jacksonville and our partners made 120 arrests under the Summer Heat Initiative, including the arrest of a dozen violent gang members and 2 people for distributing child abuse material. More than 50 weapons were also recovered, along with 20 seizures of drugs, including meth, fentanyl, and cocaine. In one operation in Daytona, it says here, 28 members of the Mongols motorcycle gang were taken into custody in a joint operation with the FBI and Jacksonville Division, Volusia County Sheriff's Office, and the state's attorney's office. In Jacksonville, a man was indicted for attempting to entice a 13-year-old child and engage in S activity. In the first of its kind operation in the Northeast Florida, FBI Jacksonville partnered with dozen federal, state, and local law enforcement partners across the region for a 3-day operation, resulting in the arrest of multiple fugitives and seizure of dangerous drugs and weapons. They try to make these people that are in these clubs like, oh, they're dangerous criminals. We got to get them all off the street. But that could be farthest from the truth. I mean, look at what happened down there in Daytona, right? They arrested everybody in the parking lot. People that had nothing to do with it. They arrested people that were just standing there. You think they're going to win in court? Absolutely not. You can't charge people with rioting that didn't do shit. They're just standing there. It's insane. Crazy. Next will be Operation Christmas Chill. 100%, man. That's what they do. Carney's Ride. What's going on? Thank you for joining me today. Listen, if you're looking for a job, right? If you're like really looking for a job, you got to check out this program. If you're having a hard time finding a job online, you know, the job search is different these days. So try this. Let's take a word from our sponsors, and I'll be right back. Bill Stacks here from Chatting with Stacks. If you're hunting for a new job, stop scrolling. I got something that'll change your search. I partner with the #1 career search company in the world, Career Empower. They build the first ever step-by-step Career Empower toolkit to help you get interviews and jobs faster, smarter, and with way more confidence. This toolkit gives you everything you need: professional resume writing, the best sites and places to search, interview prep that actually works, one-on-one live coaching with expert recruiters to build your personalized plan. They've already helped over 100,000 people land jobs, and they're ready to help you next. Head on over to www.careerempower.ai. Use promo code DIY promo3 to get 50% off. The toolkit drops from $199 to $149, and they'll even hop on a call and start building your job search strategy today. Don't do it alone. Get the toolkit, get the coaching, get hired. Links in the description below. Grab it now. Said, uh-oh, commercial. Hey, man, I gotta pay the bills, man. You gotta keep the lights on, right? Go check them out, though. I swear, they will help you. If you're struggling, trying to find a job, go check them out. Or if you know somebody who's looking for a job and they're struggling. And tonight, don't miss part 3 of the ex-Hells Angel in New York. He was formerly of Providence, Rhode Island, and he moved over to the New York City chapter. I believe tonight is where he explains how they burned his tattoo off his back. Yeah. Yup. Don't miss that. And if you want to hear it first, if you want to hear it now, you can watch it now. Just join the membership and you'll be able to watch it right now. Here, let me show you guys a picture of his back. This is crazy. Insane. So you guys know what a Hell's Angel back piece looks like, right? With the death head. Check this shit out. That's his back on the left. That's a big burn. Whole back piece gone. And they covered the Hell's Angels part. Listen, when you're a part of one of them clubs, you're just renting the logo. When you leave, the logo stays. Oh, be aware of that. But that's what it looked like years later. Burned off. But he tells the story. Don't miss it. Chatting with Stacks, exclusive content you can't see anywhere else. I'm the only person to interview this guy. So don't miss it. Part 3 tonight. Probably better than a belt sander. That's why you gotta be, you gotta think. You gotta think before you commit yourself, you know? I got nothing against people joining motorcycle clubs. Do your thing. That's why they have a limit, right? You have to be in it for so long to get certain tattoos. You can't just go in it and get a back piece. You have to be in it a certain amount of time. I know now that's what it's about now, right? You have to be in it so many years before you do certain things. Think before you ink anything, 100%. Think before you ink. 10 years minimum. He wasn't in it for 10 years, but he hung around for 10 years. They did a patch over. He was in Saint and Serpents for 5 years, and then they did a patch over. And one of the Saint and Serpents, he passed away, right? They patched him over after he passed away. I'll show you guys a picture of the Saint and Serpents cut. Because if you look this stuff up online, you won't see any pictures of it. This is what the Saint and Serpents cut used to look like. And then they patched over after they were a club for 5 years. They patched over to the Rhode Island Hells Angels, the first chapter in Rhode Island. Then after a while, he transferred to New York City. And then from there, go watch the interview. If you want to see the full interview, go to Patreon. If you want to wait for the interviews to drop piece by piece, then just keep watching it on YouTube. But you can watch a bunch of them on members right now on YouTube, but Patreon is where it's at. I hope you guys like this content. There's a lot more content like it. I appreciate you guys. If you like this show, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can get my videos every time they drop. And if you don't like this show, too fucking bad. Start your own podcast. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Tell your mother's brother's sister's friend about Chatting with Stacks, the dopest motorcycle content on YouTube. I appreciate all you guys. And remember, don't be a bitch.
And all new at 5, a major organized crime bust. 23 people under arrest now accused of stealing guns and cash.
Today, police revealed 4 organized crime groups are wreaking havoc.
From aggravated robbery to kidnapping, burglary, and more. Let's take a look at this. New pictures from court documents in this case. These are a few of the people who have been charged. And investigators say the money, tens of thousands of dollars, is all stolen.